Okay, good morning traders and welcome to the All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. We're going to go through the live order flow. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, educational, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump in. Good morning, Alois. And take a look. We can look at any market you guys want. Let me know. We are looking at the S&P E-mini here. Typically start with that and many times end with that as well. So what's happening at the here and now? All right, so 8:30 data. You can see this right around in here. 9:15 also, and then 9:45 in here. So you can see where liquidity is pulled from away from the market in these areas. Yeah, we had Empire State Manufacturing. We had Flash Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, and then Flash Services Purchasing Manager Index at 9:45 as well. All right, and then we had the I believe it was consumer sentiment at 10. See Michigan always on Friday. Just a second. No, just 9:45. Okay. All right. So yeah, what do we see here? What's been going on? Bigger picture and current here and now. Well, who's driving the narrative right now is sellers. Sellers coming in. We see this lower high here by the buy-in that retraces quite a bit into high liquidity here on the offer. And then sellers come in yet again. And then there's back and forth at the moment here. Okay, so look at the bigger picture here as well. We can see the this move up into high liquidity in the pre-market. So this is back here at 2 a.m. East Coast time here. So this is the London or European Open, Frankfurt, and then we can see a move up into high liquidity. Doesn't want to go higher. We see buyers in here. This can't take it higher. Lower highs, lower lows, or equal lows, and then we make a lower low here. And then we come back in and start to understand not only liquidity here on the higher time frame, the quick moves away after some data. Okay, both times in here, yeah, also here. So not a lot more muted here at 9:45. All right, so well, what kind of bias do we have? Not much. We maybe look for a bit of a pullback here by buyers. And just an idea, because I don't see a lot of buying come in. It's pretty muted in this area in here. But I wouldn't be surprised. It's auctioned up here a couple times, one more, and then maybe a break back up into maybe this area in here in the market structure. Okay, there's a few areas it can go to here. So it would break here above these two swings back up into here. And that would be around the 72.50 area, somewhere like that. And then this would be up by the 74 area. We may even get a full retracement back up into where it broke from up here around 77. Okay, just a few thoughts and ideas of what we're seeing right now. Let's just take a look at these swings in here though, and maybe this is a good topic to go through in terms of today. What analysis and market structure. Look at the swings in here, right? These little swings in here, and look at the volume within them. Okay, so who's in control in some of these moves, or who's got the most volume? Okay, lots of selling in here, no question about that. Okay, 9:30 cash open especially, we always get that. And then we see a little bit of buying. Not much selling here, kind of low volume pullback. A little bit of buying in here, a lot more selling. Okay, now is kind of shifting and changing. A little bit of buying, more selling. Okay, so and then look at the offer here. So yeah, it makes pretty good sense that we're going to get maybe a retest down here, and maybe a break also of that if that selling can pick up, and we can trade into 47.60 liquidity here. Okay, so just by doing that quick analysis in here, previously we were thinking, well, maybe it can break up into this this trend line in here, but then if we start to dive deeper and look within the structure, the volume that is transacting, then we get a different picture. Okay, so I wanted to mention this because yesterday we had a Bookmap Academy meeting, coaching and mentoring session. If you guys aren't familiar with that, I'll show you in just a minute. But what I want to cover is, we talked about a flag pattern many times, and it's one of the setups we have. It's the only setup we have in the strategies and setups area on the Learning Center. I'll show you that in a minute as well. I just want to show you the checklist. Actually, I had imported another checklist here. We can go back to the default file though. This is that flag pattern and going through and grading it in here. Okay, this would be done in real time though, and it keeps you on track. This is your trading plan basically. Do you have these elements in your trading plan? If you do, you can check them and you can grade them as well. We just went through this process looking at the volume within the structure here. Okay, trying to ascertain where price might go based on the volume within this structure in here. Okay, so we're looking for the potential, and I'm kind of surprised in here that we see buyers come right back. Okay, because this was starting to pick up. Look at the pickup here. Look at the bars. These are delta bars. These are delta dots. Okay, and we're actually seeing buyers come right back in. Now it made a higher low here, and now it's making an equal high. Okay, so we're back to that other scenario in here of coming back up into our 70. Well, it was this one first, 72 and a half. Then yeah, so 72 and a half. This transaction here around 74-ish, or maybe a full retracement back up to 77 or so. Okay, so let's take a look here and see what's going on. There's quite a bit of buy volume, but let's look on the volume within the price structure here, and also the liquidity. Okay, here we go. So it broke above, and then a lot of this volume, the move kind of started here and went higher, but a lot of the volume is trading actually up here. Okay, and a bit in here. So we're going to go through a scenario now because we're going back and forth. What if we break below here on heavy selling? Okay, we have maybe exhaustion here by the buy side and heavy selling starting to come in. Okay, then we would look for a move back down to probably immediately back down to 67, 65 and a half, and then that a break below the range in here down to 60 or so. Okay, so just a thought, and we'll look for that. Okay, we identify trapped volume, trapped buyers in here. Okay, here come the sellers now. So starting to pick up. Okay, is that enough? What's the order book look like? Okay, they're on the offer here. Okay, they're also on the bid in here too. Yeah, we can look for that scenario. I just don't think it's high probability to trade or to trade out. Yeah, we do see the volume picking up, but the order book is not really quite aligned in here. So we would kind of pass on that. And it's a good thing we did. We see buyers come right back in. Okay, so this is what we're reading, and using this checklist in here to understand some of these scenarios on where price might go. Okay, this is a really important factor because we're not going to be looking directly at some sort of indicator or system of indicators in here. Instead, we're going to be looking at the order flow. Okay, so trying to keep it pretty simple with the reading and the order flow. Okay, so You know, this all of a sudden we see that there was actually a little nice flash of buying on the bid in these areas in here. A nice reaction by buyers. Okay, you can see, you saw that probably in real time. The other scenario now is being forced basically by those buyers, trying to come back up into these areas here. Okay, so that's what unfolded here, right? And we kind of stayed away from it just by what we understood here in the order flow within this area. So this scenario is still open, actually. In fact, it's probably moved up a little bit, and we can look for the same thing is here. Okay, top of the range. Usually we look for kind of a bounce off of that. As long as there's pretty strong buying up in here. Okay, now I don't see a whole lot of really strong buying up in here, and I see one big sell dot up here as well. Okay, so looking for the sellers now to try to drive it back into the range. Okay, so this would be kind of like your mean reversion type trade. Your profile trader, you'd be looking at probably some of these areas in here, maybe to take some off, try to match it up with some liquidity to target. But we can also just look at the structure. We don't have to look at profile structure and start to understand what this might look like. Yeah, this looks pretty good to me, down into this kind of 67.5, I'd say. And then also this area in here where we broke out. It kind of went up and then a little bit of a pause and then broke out. Okay, and then it's back to our other areas down below. All right, so just a thought, yeah, we'll look for that. And the big key here is not the dip below our little line here. It's the dip below on volume. Okay, and follow through. Right, so we're still not really seeing anything high probability here. Okay, knowing the distinction, we can go through the scenarios, but knowing the distinction, okay, that yeah, we're going to stay away. We're not going to be looking at this in here. All right, let me know if there's any questions on this, and we'll go through more examples, real time, and maybe some here in the past. Richie, can I touch on CVD? Best setting? Yeah, it's there's all sorts of settings here in CVD that you can use in Bookmap. We're pretty flexible with it. I'll show you my setting. I think it's just the default setting in here. Yeah, I don't filter it for size. You can do that, and this is an interesting filter. I'll show you what you can do with this. And then the indicator range in here is for the entire session. If I do that, you can see that it's almost all red except for just peaked above the zero line right here in green, or chart range. And then in the chart range, it gives you that cumulative volume delta for this chart range in here. You can see that it's a very different picture in terms of above or below the zero line. Okay, so that's going to change because it's based on your zoom, right? So anyway, all right. So yeah, now I'm starting to root here for the sellers right here. We're down below here, but I still don't see the volume on that sell side to pick up and try to make it down into these levels here. Right. So anyway, yeah, quickly I'll go through maybe some resets or like different values in here. You can add multiple cumulative volume deltas. So you can see one here. I want to show you this. It's a really interesting way to look at it here. If we add a new one here, I won't add. Oh yeah, there's some other settings up above in here. Symmetrical, including zero line, or compact. Okay, symmetrical means the zero line's in the middle. Including the zero line just means that zero will be within this range somewhere. And compact means that it doesn't matter about the zero line whatsoever. It can be on the chart or off the chart, on the subchart. I kind of like the compact. I want to see the big swings in here. but it's up to you. Right. Okay, there's all sorts of resetting in here as well. This is a pretty cool feature with the resetting. Okay, so for example, let's take a quick look here. Maybe on this move and this swing up here, maybe you want to reset it or reset it here. Okay, well, you can just come down here and what you can do is right click on it and reset here, and then you can see the reset was already set in here. Okay. You can also reset on session start, and you define that session start in here. Is it 9:30 East Coast time or whatever it is? You can set it, right? So you've got a lot of resets in here. What this allows you to do is start to play with maybe different CVDs. So we can add another one in here. I'm going to call this one large traders, right? And create a new one. You can see the blue line underneath it here. We are on the large trader one right now. Okay, and I'm going to filter it. I'm going to use some of the filtering in here. Okay, I don't want to see any resets on this one, so we will deselect that. See, there's two CVD outputs down here. Okay, this is actually something we've had for a long time, and it's pretty unique to be able to see this. I'm going to filter for minimum accountable volume size, which means anything less than the number I input here, or including that number. All right, so we're going to filter for larger players. Okay, so the minimum size that someone has to be using is 10 or above. Okay, let's actually put 9. And then you can see the output down here. Okay, so what we can do is compare and contrast. This one is for all CVD here, green and red, and the blue and orange one is for larger players or larger contract size. It will filter for the size. Okay, so let's compare and contrast. Let's take a look here, and you can see like some pretty big movements in here, back and forth with cumulative volume delta based on these transactions, larger player transactions. Okay, so this is one of the ways to take a look at it. If you like, play around with it. Find out what kind of setting works for you, or if you want multiple setups in here as well. Thanks, Alois. Yep. Some traders like to just see the reset at the cash session or fundamental event or whatever it might be. For those of you, just in case, like I'm diverging here from the presentation due to that question, but the VWAP too. You can also reset the VWAP all sorts of ways. Let me demo this, because a lot of people like anchored VWAPs. No problem. Let's suppose you want to anchor your VWAP on the cash open here. Well, we'll just hover over our VWAP and then right click on it, and then we're going to go to VWAP settings. You can check the box here for session start, and then have it reset on your session start. There's other resets in here as well. You can get rid of them. Looks like I kept these here for some reason. I don't know why. I like to do this here because I don't have VWAP from the beginning of the day. Okay. So I'm looking for just the cash session. Looking for the larger players playing off of the cash session, regular trading hours only. Okay. Now you can do reset now. You can add a reset to whatever time you want. You can have it on intervals as well. You can clear them all. There's another way of doing it as well, and let me show you that. Okay, so for example, let's take a look here. Maybe this move here, you want to reset it on this swing and this move with the volume coming in here. Okay, reset here, and then it resets there, and then here's my new setting or output for the reset. Okay, for VWAP. Okay, or maybe it's the swing up here you want to reset. Okay, so we can add another one in here. Okay, there we go. And it's not really helping us much here, that's for sure. So we can come back into VWAPs here, and we'll just delete both of those. All right, so I kind of missed a little bit of, boy, I'm still not really seeing much in here. We went through the scenarios of where this might go on the buy side, and still going here. So we said what, 72 and a half. Next one was around 74-ish, and then also the 77 and a half or so. Okay, so this is a nice little move in here on the buy side. A lot of back and forth in here. Hard to judge. Again, liquidity on the offer. Sellers coming in. Not too much on the bid here, but buyers coming in nonetheless. Okay, so yeah, a bit of a bullish slant here now. The volume's starting to pick up. So let's see if we can reach our 77 level here. Yeah, you can see this was a big buy here by a larger player in here. Right in there. In fact, let's just zoom in there, take a look at it. Yeah, you can see multiple, large player transactions taking on this liquidity here as well. Looks like someone trying to skew the offer and trying to get maybe price to go lower. They were able to do that actually, but the buyers certainly took them on. Okay, so look again at some of these little areas in here, guys. I just want to show this because like these kinds of details you're just not going to see in other platforms. What we saw here was this larger player activity in here, also transacting with this high liquidity on the offer. Okay, so this is an event here. Okay? It's a bigger event in this small time frame, and we can just take this across and then look for what might happen at that event or that price again. Okay? Because that's probably where you're going to find buyers supporting this. Right? Just think about it. It's something to look at and to test. But if we go into edit mode and take this across here, we'll see. Okay, is this an important area? Are traders going to, buyers going to support it here? Well, so far so good. You can see the liquidity in here, and look at the bid now as well. And look at the volume pick up above that area in here as well. Okay, so here's our dip below into VWAP, and then look at the buying back up above it. Okay, not VWAP. Look at the buying here and this transaction here, and the buying above it. You can see the distinction. Okay, so that's where you can start to formulate some hypotheses on like where you think price might be going, and where it might be supported. Morning, Stephen. Okay, so Stan, you're looking at the yen for or the 6J for you just having good success with your strategy there. Yeah, makes sense. I wonder, do you ever look at the bonds or the notes or 5-year or anything like that, Stan? Or maybe even euro bonds? I've seen that. I mean, the euro bonds trade a lot like the S&P. and move like that S&P as well. It's a good mover. You would have to have the Eurex rhythmic connection. Yeah, really still not seeing much. Okay, yeah, we do see buyers above this little area in here, and above the trend line here too. Uh, it's not a whole lot, and it's not a whole lot of points either. So yeah, still looking for buyers. Let's see if they can come in now, break this, and come up into our 77 level. That was our target up here, 77 and a half. Here, right? Let's just mark up a line there. Let's see here. I just wanted to show you. You go to our YouTube channel. In here, this is the coaching session we had last night, or market close. Yeah, it went on a little too long, in my opinion. Here, we're going to have to try to really, cut this back, and then we can. It's a good thing though. We'll do them more frequently though. We're trying to lobby for weekly Bookmap Academy meeting, and rotating coaches, etc., and everyone can have a say in here. So anyway, you can see the yeah, you can view the Academy coaching session here last night, or market close if you want. Then if you're interested in that, well, I can kind of show you the process in here. Basically, you sign up for the Bookmap Academy by going to bookmap.com here, and oh, it's in Brazil, Portuguese, and just go to the more button in here, and go to the Bookmap Academy here. Okay, so here you can read through here and what it's all about. We're here to coach you, mentor you, and for this you need to journalize your trading, so we can give you feedback on that, and then if you do that and you do a good job, well, then you can graduate to the Bookmap Academy, and you can get actually Bookmap for free. First step is you'd have to apply for the Junior Academy, and then if you're accepted, then you need to prove that you can make it in the Academy. Okay, so there's like these kind of milestones to hit along the way. We've had several traders already gone into the Academy, and they've gone through the whole process, and a few of them are already coaches here, and a few have already made it to the streaming level. So Tom B, Doug Pless, and Moby are streamers coming from the Bookmap Academy. Good stuff there. And let's see here. Yeah, just wanted to go through any images in here, give you guys a sense of what it's like, what we do in this academy. So we take a look at some of you guys' images. I know like CMJ here is in the academy, and he's in already in the Bookmap Junior Academy. Okay, so looking for him to create and meet the threshold of just one piece of content per day, and high quality content. And high quality content is a little more subjective, but we can see it. You'll be able to know. And what that allows you to do is edit and work on your trading plan and hone it through your journaling. This is what we're offering. So you need to put the work in, but you will be paid for it. Well, you'll be benefited for it. Okay. So anyway, yeah, we can see called consolidation period in here, and then you can see the this breakout. You see some support in here in liquidity, and then and you're looking at the euro dollar in here. So this is a pretty nice move actually. We see the move higher here, and then boy, I'm not sure, where did you get in on this? Oh, here you said entry here, but like I don't see. Here it is. Here's your little beige triangle, scaled, okay, and then holding. All right. So I would give you feedback on this here, CMJ. This is great. You're looking at your initial balance high, your high volume node, etc. Maybe you have a naked volume point of control, etc. But here's the feedback on this. This is a flag pattern. Okay, so maybe scaling. You can look at a measured move in here. So for example, let me take you to what we had talked about before in the Learning Center here. Okay, Bookmap Learning Center under the More button on Bookmap, and then the Strategies and Setups course in here. Okay, so the flag pattern and the execution part here, we can take a look at. A measured move, and we get the breakout. Here's your measured move in here. This measured move is going to relate to your range here potentially. Okay, so you can start to look for these things in here. There's reasons why the measured moves work. Okay? This isn't hocus pocus type stuff. There's only so much breadth in the market. There's stops. There's all sorts of other things. How far can it go before it starts to kind of slow down, consolidate again, and then go again? Okay, and that's where we want to judge the impulse moves in here, away from these consolidation periods in here. Okay, so for example, here's your consolidation. You've marked it up. Okay, you can take a look at this from this is about 6 pips or so, right, or 6 points. Look for another 6. Okay, look for liquidity up in those areas too. I know the liquidity is a little bit different in the currency futures. Okay, but if it's breaking out from this 10-10 area here, well, maybe it's going to go on up into 10-20 or so. Or I'm sorry, 10-16 or so, right? Well, here it is up here. Okay, beautiful measured move. Okay, it's the width of this consolidation period. You might have gotten more out of your scale. It's something to consider, at least. And then maybe a potential. I mean, this is kind of risky because I see this selling coming in. But once the buyers come in on the other side here, you can look for another move and another potential measurement in here as well. Okay, high liquidity up in here. Well, you don't really see that until it starts to kind of mingle in it. And then I don't have too much more data in here to take a look at. But I know you're trading your plan. You've got your reasons here. No problem. I'm just suggesting. That's all. Because this kind of stuff you can mix into some sort of volume profile activity, if you like. Okay. So anyway, yeah, the this flag pattern is what is here in the Learning Center in this course here. Right. So good stuff. And this is the kind of coaching that we did. We opened the mic as well so that you guys can give some feedback on that. All right. Oh, it's the Bund. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the Bunds they're just really nice movers, Stan. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Great instrument. Yeah, I totally agree, Alois. You're not getting full depth of market. I don't think in those markets as well. You're not getting MBO data either. So, that might affect your decision. I mean, this full depth of market is such a blessing. I mean, it's just amazing to see all these levels in here. Okay? Whereas other people are looking at 10 on the offer, 10 on the bid. It's like, how's that going to help you? Especially in a fast-moving market. All right, so let's see. We didn't get up into our 77.5 level in that structure, at least not yet. Okay, we're still bullish in here actually until we see something different. Okay, still making, well, an equal high here and kind of an equal low here. Yeah, look at our cumulative volume delta here, trying to get some reading out of this in here. Um, so, the larger players kind of have hit it kind of hard here. Okay, so, based off of that, it's making a lower low below the CVD here, regular CVD. So maybe they can move this market now into not just the swing here, but maybe the next level down here, which we identified in here earlier. Okay, as this is where that larger player came in to move that market above that area in here. Okay, those big transactions here, right here in cumulative volume delta. I'm just going to change the color in here so that you guys can see it maybe a little bit better. Go. Okay. Yeah, this move in here, right? So if it's more sellers coming in now, where are they going to drive it, right? So think about this in here. Now, this is actually something that Gene and the Algo Boys in his room, he talks about a lot. Maybe you guys have seen this. I don't know. He's every day at 2:30 East Coast time until the close, and he has a lot of great insight on some of these ideas in here. In fact, let's even filter the volume dots for it, and I'll show you exactly what he means. Like he's looking at technical analysis based off of exactly these kinds of transactions. Because the thesis is these are the players that are moving the market. Okay, so if that is the case, then where did they get in? Where are they selling? Where are they buying? Where might it test? Okay, on a pullback, right? This is a good area to take a look at this 70.75. Okay, based off of what we saw here with the cumulative volume delta. Okay, we've almost gotten there. And let's try to filter for the volume dots in here too, because we can. Let's just filter these out and try to get that bigger player. Okay, this is kind of an odd filter in here, minimum displayed volume, if you guys haven't used this before. But it's based off of your zoom level, basically. If we zoom in here, it's basically saying that 90, we have a setting here at 90, right? We just go to the settings in here. Minimum display volume of 90. So 90 or above. Transactions, or not, not transactions actually. It's not block trades. It is many trades that happen very, very quickly in a very short period of time. So if I start to zoom in here, now I'm taking that time frame and I'm expanding it out. So I'm manipulating the time frame that now that condition is not going to be true at a certain point unless this is one transaction for a big number, and it is. Okay, it's 230. Okay, this is one transaction for 230. It's clearly a larger player, right? So I would have to go to 231 for that not to work anymore. But that filter, okay, just demo it for kicks, just for you guys. Hold on. And anyway, the reason that we have this filter is because in the algorithmic environment, this is got rid of a lot. Did it get rid of him? Well, this is another transaction then. Oh, there. Okay, there it goes. But exactly was this transaction? On. Let's bring this back down. Let's just bring it down to 90 and see what we get. Yeah, okay, here it is. Yeah, so this is the one here for actually 123. There's another one though. This is it here. Yeah. Anyway, you can see how they cluster together like that when we start to zoom out, and it becomes a bigger dot, right? So as you can see, no one's really wanting to tangle with that area right now. Maybe we'll get it now. Let's see here. We got, kind of sellers coming in, hit this liquidity in here, and then let's see if we can get another one here. And take a look at some of these filters in here, guys. This might be something that interests you. Look at the buying in here above the swing in here and above the trend line that we drew. Okay, look at the pullback to it. I mean, look how clearly that illustrates it here. Okay, and then this move up in here and this move up in here, not on a lot of buying. Okay, so in this volume dot setting, we're looking at this in here, and you can say that, yeah, it's exhausting, but it's kind of exhausting in many places. There's some selling in here, and then sellers take it down, and there's some selling down here now. Okay, look at the buying coming back in, right? So not really seeing too much. Book is starting to show a little bit of interest here, but maybe we just come up to here, and these sellers here, and maybe these sellers here are going to have some supply up here. There we go. Okay, so looking for some supply up here for them to start to sell again. Okay, we'll see. I do not see a lot of buyers in here. Right, so I would assume that first. Yeah, Gene, the way he draws his trend lines, and you should ask him about some of these things. It's pretty interesting stuff, like to look at, here's a regular trend line here. He's not doing that. He'll take a large transaction here and a large transaction there, and that'll be his trend line. Something like that. Okay, because he knows, and it makes complete logic that it should be based off of where the larger players are. That's their trend. It's not these smaller players' trends. Who cares? Okay, Stan. Yeah, have a good weekend. Thanks for staying late last night, and we'll have you on for the coach rotation next time. There's no market profile configurations, KP, in Bookmap. We have volume profile, but not market profile. And we have its volume profile columns, but you can have many columns, and you can filter your columns however you like. You can base it off of time, resets, etc. Scheduled resets. Boy, not much shaking. We just haven't seen much in here today. And we did shift away from this here, but sellers still driving the market here. Okay, charts are getting a little messy in here, so I want to keep this one on at this 70 level, but we'll clear everything else. Let's redraw it. And also our 77 level here, 77 and a half. All right, guys. Well, yeah, it's getting interesting here. It's been a little bit of an uptrend in here, but um, we filtered the dots in here. We've got a cluster down here, and we've got a little bit of a cluster here. It's not really telling us too much. If we can get some exhaustion in here, that'd be nice, and start to see some selling coming in. Buying exhaustion, selling coming in. Would love to see these guys are bidding up in here, so and we're seeing a move higher here. Likely to trade to our 77 and a half level here. There we go. There's some buying. There they go. Okay, so there it is, yeah, maybe it's enough to come up to the next level here, 80. That's some pretty strong buying. That's going to be a stop run too, though. Know that. Can verify that. Take our CVD down. Got our stops and icebergs, and there's our stop run. Okay, right there. And some iceberg buying right on the other side. KP, so you are you looking at footprint charts at all? Since you're looking at volume profile, a lot of a lot of market profile guys also look at your footprint, look at their footprint charts, or you might be looking at your A period, B period, C period in a kind of a candle like kind of expanded out instead of in a composite profile, which I find very helpful. I mean, I'm not much of a market profile trader, but I just never understood, like, volume profile it just mashes it all up into one big profile, and being able to see the time frames broken away from the profile is really important, because you got to get the vertical movement here. The volume profile doesn't offer that. Okay? And Bookmap just excels at looking at some of these things. That's why we're looking for the move up into here, because this is where the sellers came in. Look at it. We knew that. We knew that from the beginning of the webinar. We're looking, if buyers can come in, then we're looking for a test back up into some of these little pockets, and this being the last one that we mentioned. Yeah, I prefer market profile over volume profile as well. I like the simplicity of the volume profile. I really do. I just think it's limiting, though. That's all. I mean, so many times it just doesn't matter. Like, oh, here's your big. I mean, look at it. It's a B-shaped profile. Doesn't matter. If you get buyers that start to come in here in these areas here, they're going to lift it, right? And then these guys here are going to turn into a double distribution up here. That's what's going to happen. All right, so let's see here. We covered went through CMJ's image. Went through that flag on that on the 6E, we haven't gone through Market Pulse yet. We talked about the BMA. We talked about the flag pattern and talked about the setups checklist. That's free and included with everybody. The Market Pulse demo, we can go through that. Might as well jump in there. We've got Crash in here, the resident expert on our Market Pulse. He has a very specific way, guys. Let me show you where his webinar is so that you can go watch that as well if you like. If you go to our YouTube channel, and then if you scroll down here under the Pro Trader webinar series, here it is here. Yeah, he goes through the way he uses Market Pulse to look for his setups. He also went through it yesterday in the Bookmap Academy meeting, which was great. So he made a distinction between the webinar and kind of zooming out a bit more and looking at areas where he might be getting extreme reading in Market Pulse. However, it is a pullback in the bigger trend. Okay, so he's going with the trend. Right, so important distinction here. I also I want to actually, before I even get into this, let's close it. I want to show you the absorption pressure and how this works here. Okay, because this is an interesting one, as well as the sweeps. We can take a look at that as well. In fact, let me add that on here. Well, let's look at one at a time here. So we'll get rid of the stops and icebergs for the moment and look at absorption. Okay, now the way this works for the absorption, this is really interesting stuff in here from the development side. The Market Pulse tool is extremely flexible. It can work on all markets depending on the algo. It is like its own platform within Bookmap. Therefore, what we can do is have Market Pulse indications off of another indicator. So it's an indicator working off of an indicator. So for example, let me add here absorption. Okay, so you will need to add absorption onto your chart if you want to look at the Market Pulse absorption indicator. Now, this is what I want to cover in here. This is important. DNT Matter actually made this point, and I also had just recently heard from the developers, and they told me about this. I had the same issue, DNT. So I was like, well, this doesn't work. It's always recalculating. Here's why. Because it's based off of the absorption indicator, right? And if you put it into automatic mode here, see this number now here, it will change. Because I cannot input this number. It's based off of the standard deviation in minutes here and a standard deviation multiplier. Therefore, when this updates, it's going to recalculate my market pulse. Okay, so that's the problem here. It's this indicator in the automatic mode was not set. It was set on automatic mode, which changes. So if we look at it here now, in terms of a static number, okay, we can now utilize this. All right, so let's go with yeah. Actually, let's see what this looks like here in the subchart. Well, I'm going to put a little bit of a multiplier on here. So 83. All right, and then now we can deselect it here, right? And it's going to be making the calculation now for 83 or greater, right? So we can close this, or we can go to Market Pulse now, and then we can add it here for the S&P E-mini, absorption pressure imbalance, and then click play. All right, and we'll see if we get a signal here. Now it's going to show in the subchart as well. And sorry guys, I'm just going to take off CVD. I think we're getting a lot of zero lines in here. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is how you can use it. Now you shouldn't get this recalculation all the time. Maybe it's a little much though, too big of a filter, because you can see we're not getting too much of a reading here. So what we can do is come back in and let's bring it down to 29. Okay, now we're going to get a lot more output here on the absorption indicator, which is then going to broadcast that over to the market pulse. Okay, and now you can see we're getting a lot more information in here in the subcharts. It's doing a lot more calculations in here. Okay, where previously that filtered out a lot of that calculation. If you like these things, then you can see that we have quite a few outputs here on the absorption indicator. Let's come back up here, and what we can do is limit the viewing of it though. Okay, show icons, show the volume, and then also we don't want to show the trade dots in here. Okay, that's it. So now it's working, but we don't have to look at all of that. And we're getting the output here now on market pulse, okay, as absorption pressure imbalance. Right, so you can see the red indicator here, or below the 70% over here. Why? Well, it's because it's trading into this high liquidity in here. And that's precisely why. We should get another one here on the bid side, and we do. Okay, so it's showing the heat map basically. And then we're getting an output here. What's interesting about the absorption indicators when you get a reading and you don't have much liquidity around. Okay, so what's going on there? Well, it's probably hidden order. It's probably an iceberg. All right, so let's see here. Well, we had some reading here and absorption. Sellers starting to come in now. Okay, and I see selling in here too. I'm looking for the sellers to try to drop it back down to maybe this 72 level here, or maybe our 71 or 70 and 3/4 level that we had drawn up here from that large transaction. Okay, so starting to see some absorption here as well on the sell side. Okay, so here comes our move. Okay, so we got some good insight off of this one. Still looking for it to go lower. Okay, absorption there on the buy side now. This was interesting to see absorption on the sell side here. So that's got to be an iceberg. Okay, I doubt that it's high liquidity. Yeah, I think that's an iceberg. We can verify it. Just look at icebergs. Actually, it came a little bit after. We got the iceberg here, actually. Okay, we got another one here. There's volume dots in here we filtered for, so we're not seeing exactly where they're taking place with the icebergs. Okay, so sellers still hitting the bid here. Okay, still looking for this to come back down. And I'm really curious for looking for supply here. I'm sorry, demand here at our 70 and 3/4. Okay, and we're just about there. All right, so Crash, you got a new tool to play around with. You're honing your skills on your volume pressure imbalance really well. But I just wanted to show these other ones and use case scenarios for it. Yeah. Sweeps as well. I mean, you can gain some insight from these. Absolutely. What I think, what we'd like to see next is this turned into, some execution capabilities here. Oh, it would be really great. All right, do we get our demand down at our level here? Let's see. You can see a little bit of high liquidity coming in here. Look, it doesn't take much to consider. Like, they're going to test that here. There with some demand in here. And how does the market react to it? Well, we're starting to see a little bit of a bounce. Not much. Okay, I don't see any volume on it yet with our filter here. Okay, but that's that we're not making this stuff up in here, or that scenario in here. We know that that was a large transaction with our cumulative volume delta, and we know that who's got enough liquidity in here to show like a auction skew here from 90 on up to 260. Okay, so 150 contracts in here, right? 170 contracts in here. Okay, what about here? Okay, from 58 on up to 173, 120 contracts. Okay, skews the bid here, and we see the reaction to it. Okay, so there is some demand in here. All right, so just food for thought in here, guys, and yeah, you might want to check out Gene's feed on the Algo Boys if you wanted to take it further. It's unique. I mean, I don't see a lot of other traders trading like that. One of the things that is interesting is when the circuit breakers go off in not just stocks, which happen a lot more, but also in the futures. Really big volatile moves. They move too much. They shut the market down for a bit and reopen it later. When those periods occur, it is almost exactly the same thing as you see here. These larger players are the only ones trading. All this kind of smaller stuff in here, this is when you really can make your technical analysis based off of some of these areas in here, the larger player activity. They're the only ones trading. It scared away a lot of other people. It scared away a lot of larger players too. Okay, but they're willing to take risks at certain areas. And you can see their behavior. All right, I'm interested. I'm interested to see if we had this little kind of test in here, and we didn't get too much out of it. So are we kind of learning some selling in here? Let's see what the offer is starting to show it. Okay, well, the bid's starting to pull a little bit. All right, let's see if we can get below this line here. I'm looking for our sellers to try to trade below this area here. And then let's see if we can even come back down, not just below here at 70 3/4, but our 67. And looking at the swing, okay, not liquidity. There's some liquidity down here though at 66 1/4, and then down to our 60 level. Okay, so looking for that supply to come in and move this market away from this buying that occurred over here. Okay, and again, we can kind of verify this by looking at the behavior in here. Let's unfilter these dots for the moment here, because that was pretty clean and clear when we did that. Okay, there we go. And then yeah, here it is. Here's that buying back up above it, right? Selling below it, but buying back up above it right here in that transaction. All right, so yeah, let's see. It's still well, we have VWAP coinciding with this area now too. Yeah, the volume dot settings. I mean, it's you might want to play around with it, Stephen. Yeah, DNT. Yeah, thanks for a lot of good feedback. I also, took your comments about the subchart and forwarded it to developers. I wanted to let you know that I didn't follow up with you on that. Yeah, so you'll have to. That's kind of a limitation in here due to the broadcast API with this absorption and sweeps. It's making calculations based off another indicator, which is incredible. But an indicator based off an indicator, we're getting some really interesting stuff in here. I mean, the only really good analogy I could come up with what that is like is if you guys are Excel geeks, you will know. You have your Excel spreadsheet, and maybe you have all sorts of macros and codes, coding scripts working off of your Excel spreadsheet. However, throw it into some of that data on that one main sheet into a pivot table. You filtered out that data in a very unique way. Now you can go back and use your same macros and your same scripts on that filtered data within the pivot table. Okay, so you can really look for a needle in a haystack. You're doing the same thing here, basically. The capabilities there, at least, to be able to do that. So we're talking about all sorts of, and it just opens up everything. Very specific studies on your indicator outputs. Maybe it's cumulative volume delta. I mean, heck, we've already got pretty interesting cumulative volume delta studies in here with the multiple ones here and the filtering here. However, this would be maybe broadcast to another indicator, and then you can open that up and write all sorts of code on something. Okay, executions as well. Yeah, yeah. No, thanks for the DNT for the feedback. Really great work you're making too from that Bookmap Academy. Really nice stuff. Really have to commend you. All right, guys, here we go. Here comes the battle. All right, here's some supply. Look at this larger player here. Now we see some selling coming in. Do buyers attack this? Do they trade into it? Does that larger player willing to trade here at this higher level at 72 and 3/4? So 2 points higher? I don't know. I don't see them. I'm seeing the market being moved by the supply here. Okay, interesting scenario here. It's like a game of chicken. All right, we found some buyers. Okay, so now the question is, what happens after that? We found the buyers. Here's more here. All right, then if we're trading above this area now, we found some demand. We're looking for buyers to take it back up again. Okay, there seem to be more buyers. They took on the supply, they traded through it. There's still more buying pressure. So we're looking for them to trade to the next levels of liquidity. Okay, now let's read that though in here. How good is it? Okay, this is another question because it could fail, and it could fail below this here. This happens all the time. Okay, well, we don't see sellers here. All right, so again, I'm looking for buyers now again here. And if we do get our buyers here, here they go. We should be able to break 75, 76. Okay, because we've retested and we found buyers again. Okay, I was about to say, you know, we see the move through, but look at how much buying we see the move through on. It's not much. Okay, we retest down here. We don't find many sellers. And then we do find some buyers that auction back up here again. Okay, so to me, it looks like it's skewed. We still see buying pressure up here. I'm looking for them to move it to the next level. Okay, here we go again, and I'm still finding buyers. Okay, so let's see the buyers lift the offer, break this little range here, and trade to 75 and 76. Okay, based off of these transactions in here, okay, that we've been looking at. A lot of this session in here, based off of quite a bit of things we're basing it off of in here, but we're basing it off of larger player activity in here, which I think we're pinpointing pretty well. Okay, we're up at 75, still finding buyers. All right, let's see here a little bit more. Yep, we should be able to get up to 76. And it couldn't get up to 76. There was some buying up here, not a whole lot. This looks pretty good though, right in here. Now we're getting a little bit of a battle here. Not much, but you see a little bit of supply come in here. All right, some exhaustion there right here on the retest by sellers, and buyers back up again. I'm looking for one more round of buying here, one more little tranche of buying. They should be able to lift it. Okay, it's auctioned up here a couple times. Here they go. Now, this is the third time. I still see buyers. Should be able to lift it, looking for a 76 level. And now, again, this is not a trade recommendation. It's just an order flow reading in here. Okay, when we want to look at this in here and move this into a strategy, we got to look at more things. You have to back test it. Okay, these are just some ideas. And in fact, you can see this one's not playing out. Okay, we're back down to where it broke out from here and retesting here. Okay, thinking that because it can auction here again, and auction's not too powerful here, but it's better here, right? and therefore we're looking for the move higher. Okay, now sellers came back in and retested some of these areas here, top of the range here, and now they're trying to move it away from this area here. Okay, and then what we're going to see here is like these players are, one's going to be upended in here. Okay, so what that would look like most likely in the scenario here is this one. It's either going to be sellers take it down now, okay, or we rotate back up and we get buyers up here, okay, above the selling that just came in. Okay, and if we do, beautiful, we should get it. We should get a nice move back up into our 77.5 level. Okay, here they go. Right, so starting to come in. Yeah, looking for them to move it right back up to this previous auction right here. Okay, that would be our 75 level. Right, it didn't work out. We're coming back now. And we're coming back with a little more behind it here, more volume behind it, and we're above the selling. Okay, let's see it. Is Rob in here today? Rob, are you here? We're earlier, I think. Okay, buyers coming back in again. It's been kind of rotating back and forth, but I'm still seeing buyers here. So I'm still looking for that move back up to 75, where it previously auctioned, and then breaking out. Okay, up into 76, and we've been looking at this 77 level for a while now. Which it did trade up to before, and a little bit above our level here previously. I'm looking for a move back up here though, and we'll really see then if we get a lot more demand up here for the move higher. Okay, so here we go. Let's watch this auction here. Okay, so yep, seeing our buyers. All right, so we're back up here auctioning again. We should be able to see buyers move this and sellers get out of the way a little bit. So I want to see this bid starting to light up. I want to see these guys get out of the way so that we can come up to 77 in a quicker fashion here. Oh, here you are, Rob. Okay. Yeah, no, I was just wanted to bring up something about we've been talking about some of these moves in here in detail, and getting into not only the order flow, but maybe the players within the order flow in this webinar, and demoing some of the market pulse stuff too, but and saw a nice move on that market pulse. But the what I wanted to mention was it was also what we talked about in the Bookmap Academy meeting yesterday, and that is starting to understand momentum in here. I just think that this is an easier one to understand, and it's such a good one, because once you start to understand momentum, then it'll keep you out of a lot of bad trades, and it will make you take the good ones and try to stick with it. Okay, because once there's momentum behind it, it usually kind of continues just to move. You will get pullbacks, and you might get some erratic behavior on some of the pullbacks. Okay, but typically the buyers come back in and move the market, and that's what's happening here. Okay, so we weren't, when we started the webinar, we talked about the this whole range down here, sellers in control, sellers in control, and then just didn't see much on some of these moves in here, and didn't make too much sense. And then what we saw in here was actually, it kind of tipped us off in that larger transaction, which did play down. And you can see it hits the VWAP, but also hits some market structure in here. We see the basically kind of a dip below this structure in here. Okay. Sorry. Rectangle. Okay. All right. So kind of dipped below, came back up above. After seeing that big transaction, we see it immediately move away from it, comes back up above it, and then look at the buying in here, right? So we got some momentum in here now. Okay, so looking for pullbacks and continuation. Now, not the best in here, pretty choppy activity, but there's still more buying. And then we noted in here that where was it? God, I can't remember. It was that's maybe it was this dot here, and the selling starting to come in. Yeah, and we also saw this with the absorption pressure imbalance. And then maybe this moved back down to where this transaction took place. And didn't quite get there, but almost there. But we're looking for those sellers to come in, okay, and trade back down to these levels in here. And then we saw the fight, the back and forth in here. And then we started to notice the momentum and who's winning the game in here, looking for the move back up. Okay, so yeah, lots of back and forth. God, or maybe this was the drop we were looking for. I can't recall where. Nonetheless, we're again reading. We read this one here. Okay, that this battle is shaping up between these larger players in here. And then this one in here. Okay, so we found there's supply here, but the demand took it on and traded through it. We were not quite too sure about this, though. Didn't look that strong. We got our retest here, and we didn't see many sellers here. That's when we're looking for the move back up. It's auctioning back up here again. We're seeing buyers at the top of the range. Okay, we get another pullback, but then we get more buyers again. We're looking for the breakout. Okay, we were looking for 76. It came close, 75 and 76. And all it did was come up to the swing here. And then we got another whole rotation here, but we're still watching and waiting and looking for that buying pressure and momentum. Okay, so let's just go through a process here, and we'll end the session here. So okay, so we've tagged our 77 and a half level, and look at the supply come in here. Okay, sellers coming in. All right, so anyway, we're just not making this stuff up. You can read this behavior using order flow, and that's pretty amazing. There's not a lot of software out there that can give you that kind of insight. I mean, really dig into it. Anyway, yeah, look, I'm going to close the market pulse for a second, guys, and then Rob, I wanted to stick with this theme in here, looking for your momentum, okay, and understanding momentum, understanding pullbacks and low volume pullbacks within your momentum moves. Okay, so momentum to the downside, and then where is that momentum wane, or where do buyers come in and kind of disrupt it, and where might they go? Look at these areas in here as pullbacks. Okay, and this is in hindsight, but we're not making it up. We see it all the time. Right here, beauty, right? So here's where we have we have a little bit of demand in here. Sellers hit it and trade through it. So this is now your pivot area in here. Maybe because of the same thing we mentioned before. This is where there's going to be a battle shaping up. Okay, so your pullback, you can look for these little spots. Okay, that's why market structure works a lot of the time. It's because of this behavior within it. Okay, and then if you can get the buyers back up above that area in here. Okay, so we're looking right at an area, and your VPAC, I'm sorry, VWAP traders are also. We reset our VWAP though a bunch of times, right? So it's not maybe the correct VWAP. Anyway, yeah, maybe you can look at Confluence if you trade that. But we're just talking about pure market structure, transactions, and order flow, right? And we see these this context in here, and then the buyers take it away here. Okay, so there's some momentum coming up into it, but it looks pretty bad up here. I would anticipate some back and forth in here, and then look for, wow, okay, more buyers in here, pull back. Wow, more buyers, more buyers. We're looking, they're starting to step it up in here. Look for your target. Start to look for buyers lifting that offer, taking this market away from these areas in here. Okay, and you can start to look for where it might go based on the market structure and transactions and the liquidity. Right, so I would, for a lot of you, not just Rob, just start looking at your momentum areas, and really start to understand these moves, and also where you'd anticipate pullbacks. That might be enough right there. I mean, a few of those a day, that could just do the trick right there. I mean, here's strong move. Pretty deep pullback here, and it also hit liquidity. I don't know about that one, but anyway, I think you guys get the point. Just understanding these strong moves and where these pullbacks might occur. Okay, it just happens again and again and again. And when it doesn't happen again, you can almost, I know a lot of traders do this, but for beginner traders, just take your stop, because you don't want to get caught up, and then if you reverse in here, and then even go double on the buy side, you'll make up your loss and be in the green. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest that or encourage that. Yeah, anyway, you keep looking for your pullbacks to these little critical areas in here in pockets due to the behavior in the order flow. It's not some line on a chart. Right. So, and again, up in here, starting to look pretty good. Like, do we see that buying occur again in here? And one of the things also, Rob or others, look at like these moves in here. How strong are they? Are they starting to wane? How much would you really look for in here for these moves? Hey, what about the selling on the other side? Is it picking up? Is it taking away from that strong move? So we have to get back up above here, and then we have to really see some strong buying, and then we could get a strong move, potentially equal to this one over here. Right, so like this one in here, yeah, I'd go from this volume up in here to here, right, and then take this one, and we can move it up. Yeah, and it kind of matches with some liquidity up there. You can break out. All right, guys. So yeah, went through a bunch of things. We went through CMJ's image, kind of a showcase, a little bit of the Bookmap Academy, and what we do over there. Also went through Bookmap Academy. I showed Crash's webinar in there from last week. Went through a bit of the flag pattern as well, and looking for momentum moves now. The majority of the webinar, I think the kind of main thrust of it was looking at these larger player activities and starting to develop some analysis around those areas. And that played out really well today. So if this is something that resonates with you and you understand it well, you like it, then take it further. start to study it. That's what these webinars are for. It's a starting point for your studies. And start to back test it, start to journal it, join the Bookmap Academy, start to journal it, and become a pro at it. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for Bookmap Academy and the coaches yesterday. Good session. We'll do it again probably in the new year. I don't think we'll do it until the new year. Just a lot of holiday stuff coming up and etc. So, but looking forward to a lot more of that. So have a good weekend, everybody, and we will catch up with you next week. All right. Yep. Take care.